Morning, everyone. How are we doing today? It is Sunday, October 25th, and this is, of course, your daily financial news. If you like to get your financial news in little 10 to 12-minute clips, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, do me a favor, hit subscribe. We do this every morning live. I shoot for 7:30 a.m. That way, if you like to see it live, you can. Otherwise, if you like to watch it later in the day, it will be ready for you. One thing you will know about these daily financial news is it is just what is going on today. I generally avoid left and right, red and blue, conservative and liberal topics because I am an investor. I invest in this market regardless of what's going on in politics. And, you know, the political landscape changes and you and I have to keep moving forward. So a couple quick things about today. First, it is Sunday, so you can look forward to me sharing my weekly goals and updates there. When I'm going through my weekly goals, I would ask you to take a look at that and ask what your weekly goals are. What are you doing to just be a little bit better, whether it might be in real estate investing, whether that might be in physical health. Maybe it's watching less network news in just toxic stuff on social media. I don't know what it is, but take the opportunity, if you happen to watch my goals video, to ask yourself, what is something you could do every week that you could track? Because it's one thing to have goals, but you need to write them down. You need to track performance, and then you need to share performance with someone. It's really that feedback loop, and why I now have shared my weekly goals with you almost an entire year is because I want you to see the dedication that is there. And I want to share with you because you're my feedback loop. When I look in the mirror and I give you my numbers, I'm like, God, did this one wrong. I got to do better, right? That's just the feedback loop that I hope for you. Second, I'm going to be putting out a video this morning with 5 goals. I'm getting a lot of new followers to the channel, so thank you. So I'd like to give each of you 5 challenges as a new investor. Just 5 things you could do this week, perhaps, to set you on the right path. And if you like them, just continue moving forward with those. So that will come out as well. So on to the news of the day. First and foremost, it's going to be a busy week. This is the last full week before the election. For some of us, it might be time to unplug, frankly, from social media and network news, because I think we're going to be flooded with purposely skewed headlines to elicit responses. And as we have seen, there may be a kernel of truth in some of the headlines, but I believe they are going to be tweaked and bent to the will of the provider. So just realize that it's going to be a pretty tough week. I think they are going to go for the emotion. Fear is palpable, right? Fear is something you can really push on. So I expect most of the headlines to be negative, which is unfortunate. I really wish hope and goodness was something that people felt, but they certainly react more to fear. So just know that going in, I think this last full week, the big push for both national and local elections is likely to be both painful and probably embarrassing to watch when we look back on them. Next up, I just saw that Boeing 737 MAX is coming online first in Europe. But good old American Airlines is going to actually do customer tours of the airplane, which I thought was interesting because folks like me, legacy business traveler, 100,000 miles a year, like 6, 7, 8 years in a row. I don't know that I'd be too excited to get on a 737 MAX, just given the negative history and the fact that they've been sitting on a tarmac for a year and a half probably doesn't do any goodness for it. And then, I don't know about you, but the 737 MAX could look good on the ground. That's not where it has problems. It has problems in the air. So I'm not really sure what a tour of a plane, but you know, you might as well. You got a whole bunch of them sitting there. You might as well show them off. So I thought that was interesting. The stimulus blame game has started, and I am so thankful that I put out that Charlie Brown video, right? Charlie Brown, Lucy, the football, and of course Linus coming over from the Senate to smack it just in case. This was This was the game of chess. This was four-dimensional chess. It was played to perfection. I believe the politicians wanted us angry. They wanted us. It's funny because some of the articles I've read is the folks that are in the greatest pain are actually the ones most likely not to vote. They are depressed, scared, nervous, all emotions, but they are the least likely to vote, according to Bloomberg, which I thought was interesting. So the whole idea, again, I think Nancy Pelosi played the game. I think Mnuchin was absolutely Charlie Brown. I think Mnuchin was trying his hardest, but it just wasn't going to happen. And then, of course, we had good old Mitch coming out from the Senate saying, no, dude, you ain't spending $2 trillion. I can't get that done. So bill's not getting done before the election. I'm glad we called that weeks ago. A couple of other things I've noted in the week is I have seen that there's a proposal for student debt relief, which I thought was interesting. I don't know if you've seen this. Again, it's just one of those things that I'm like, huh, that's interesting. And it's interesting because, again, a lot of the pain we're feeling is in that recent graduate, right? The service jobs and things of that nature. There's a proposal on the table. Don't know if it'll go anywhere, but it's interesting to talk about. Up to $10,000 in debt relief for every year of service, national or community level, up to 5 years. Kind of like a bonus, if you will, right? If you were in tech or some other jobs, you might earn a bonus. You might earn a signing bonus, something of that nature. I think there's something here. I think there's something here. I think I would like to see the box of what national and community service is. I would want to make sure that the programs are good for the area and things that are needed. I can imagine a loosely defined service, and suddenly we have, people washing. I don't know. You could just see how this goes bad, but I think there's enough good in this, and I want to think that, not everything is bad in the world. So I think there's something there. I'd like to see this program go forward. I think we are in an environment of more unemployed than we would like, and if we can get the 20-somethings that are probably, feeling it pretty bad today, I think that would be a good thing. And volunteering of service, things of that nature, I think is always a good thing. Next up, I saw Joe Biden say this, and I don't have an opinion yet. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Joe Biden yesterday said that the climate change is the number one issue facing humanity. That's a really, really big claim. And I wasn't sure what his time frame is. Like, is it the biggest issue today? Is it the biggest issue for the next 50 years? But he's calling his shot, and he's saying he's going to put 2 trillion with a T behind it should he win the election. That's a lot of money on top of a lot of other money. But could it be job creation? Could it be, taking the U.S. from behind to the future? It's an interesting thing to think about. I don't know enough about climate change or about green energy to have an opinion. It's not my area of focus. I can tell you, having been to Alaska, I've been to Alaska on a cruise, so the coast. I think I was in Alaska 10 years apart, right? One time probably in 2000, another time in like 2015. Climate change is real, at least from what I saw on the glaciers, right? It's like, oh, wow, that's noticeable. So I believe it's real. But yeah, I don't know. Number one issue, but for me, it's about the money because, again, $2 trillion is debt we have to pay. Let's hope there's a return. A lot of green projects in the past have been big piles of money lit on fire. But yeah, I could see us having to do something there. But again, I got to tell you, one of my big fears heading into the election is we are going to spend $4, $5, $6 trillion in the first half next year. Whether it's the stimulus bill, the infrastructure bill, this green bill, whatever it is, it's going to make 2020 deficit look tiny. And if we do that, my concern is inflation, because we're already seeing uptick in bonds. We talked about that yesterday. If you haven't seen that, watch the daily news on the 24th. But yeah, I mean, there is going to be a price to pay for spending like a drunken sailor. And as real estate investors and as folks that watch the consumer, that will ripple through consumer price index first, CPI. We're already seeing it in food and energy. But boy, if that ticks up, the Fed, this whole Fed staying low for years and years to come, not a certainty, folks. I don't see it being 100% certain. So we're going to have to watch that. That's a lot of money to spend. And again, for the week, just kind of rounding it out, we're going to be hearing a lot of things. Case counts, record levels. We're going to be hearing that plastered all over the media, I am sure. We're going to hear about Europe and lockdowns and Brexit and just more chaotic headlines. And again, I think we are going to start to see small and medium businesses go out at record numbers. The weather is turning. It's getting colder here in California. I'm sure it's getting colder where you are. And people who could, restaurants outside and, all of that, going to be a problem. AMC theaters running out of money, hotels running out of money. It's there's going to be a fair amount of businesses that just go bankrupt this year for tax reasons, frankly, right? They're like, I'm not going to dip into my savings anymore. We're going to go out. I do think this sets us up for a great 2021, but we got to get through 2020. So at the end of the day, it was it's going to be an interesting week. I'm a little nervous just about all the headline moving things coming out. So it will be interesting. And then lastly, I was asked in a comment about the link to my Audible book. So I changed my default settings for this videos, and now there's a link in Audible once I close this. So if you like to listen, one rental at a time, that book right behind me, which is on Amazon and has 299 reviews. I need one more for 300. Who's going to do it? 5-star, by the way, 5-star review on Amazon. And then on Audible, we went over 100 a couple weeks ago. So thank you for that. So if you like Audible books, there's a link below. And if you never tried Audible, I think the link below gets you a free book, but check it out. All right, everybody, take care of yourself. Bye-bye.